counter.
But no, I feel
It feels very
Hello and welcome to the Unwanted Opinion podcast. Hello and welcome to the Unwanted Opinion podcast, the show in which me and my friends give our unwanted opinion on all things film and sometimes TV. On today's show, my name is Liz and I'm here with Kyle.
Hello.
Hello, Kyle, and no Gonzalo. Like usual, this is just part of the course now. It's one in, one out. You know, someone else.
I was feeling comfortable if it's all three of us now. It's too many unwanted opinions.
Yeah, because it's more of an event, you know, when we're all here. But yes, I mentioned the TV aspect because on today's show, Kyle has reviewed the live-action One Piece adaptation, which he will give a review for today, and we'll also have a review for the new Mubi release, Passages, and today's main topic. Me and Kyle are looking back at the summer movie season as a whole and looking at what the biggest box office hits were, best films that we, you know, the ones we thought were the best films, as well as the bombs, the middling ones, the ones that did they make money. We're doing a whole rundown of what the hits and misses were of the summer movie season. So that will all be on today's episode. Are you ready to go, Kyle?
I am ready. So
right,
yeah,
we're starting with you.
Yes. So I'm going to be talking about Netflix's live-action adaptation of One Piece. Now, for anybody who doesn't know, One Piece is possibly one of the biggest IPs in the world, in the sense of it is one of the longest running animes, longest running mangas, best-selling animes, best-selling manga. It is currently at 1,075 episodes, or maybe hit the 80 mark. It is starting to slow down. The creator did predict 2024, 2025 for the manga's ending.
Right. Oh, it's coming to an end soon.
It is coming to an end soon. So, you know, will they find a One Piece? So the general plot of One Piece, it follows Monkey D. Luffy, who's an up-inspiring pirate who wants to go after the One Piece, which is basically the culmination of all the treasure of the past king of the pirate, Gold Roger, who died executed 22 years before the start of this film. Now, we're going to get some to backstory, because obviously live-action animes, when anybody hears that, there's a big cloud hovering over that.
Oh, yes.
With your likes
Cowboy
of
Bebop last year was...
Your Cowboy Bebop, which is specifically a Netflix one, which is also important to add, because we've had Cowboy Bebop, we've had Death Note as a live-action remake from Netflix, which was horrific, which is also getting another live-action Netflix adaptation with the guys that did Stranger Things, the kind of brothers.
The Duffer Brothers?
Yeah,
really?
They're doing Death Note, which was interesting. But, you know, even further back, we've had M. Night Shyamalan's The Last Airbender, which I know is technically American animation, but it's in that kind of boat. We've had Speed Racer.
Dragon Ball Z, I remember Dragon
Ball Z Evolution, and a myriad of others. And when this got announced, so for context, my experience of One Piece is I have watched about 90 episodes, which is a wee bit more than what this show covered. So I'm fairly well of every arc that happened in this show. You know, I'm a nice middle ground where I've seen a fair bit. My girlfriend who I watched it with had never watched it because she was a bit intimidated by the anime.
By the episode, just so the amount of episodes, it's like...
Yeah, I have. I mean, at your birthday, I had a really good chat with Tegan about his experience with the anime. Which really, he honestly inspired me to go back and just double, like,
keep
I literally start from the beginning and watch it, because the man was like, you need inspiration. So when I heard this was happening, I was like, logistically, how are you going to do this with 1,010 episodes, 70 episodes, you know? And this show, for reference, covers about the first 55, 60 episodes, right? A fair bit. And I have to say that I think it has done a good job, right? Now, there's a lot of kind of ifs and buts in this statement. In comparison to every live-action anime I've seen previously, I think this is the best one, right? Because of a couple of things. Oda, the creator, has been an executive producer and kind of overshadowing the entire process.
So he's
everything, right? He was involved in the casting of all the crew, which I think personally, I think that's the strongest aspect of the show is the
cast.
casting. I think they've done it all so perfectly. The chemistry the crew share, they did a whole thing where they're like showing us so much kind of up into the show's release. They were showing us a lot of background behind the scenes of them just hanging out, showing like, listen, they were like the bond that they have on screen is because they were, being so friendly out with. And the fact that he's been there the entire time kind of gave me a wee bit of hope, and I do think it has paid off. Is this the perfect way to watch One Piece? No, watch the anime. That's the intended way because it has everything. But then also, is it a good way to introduce people to this universe in a sense where 8 1-hour episodes feels a wee bit less intimidating than 60 20-minute episodes?
Yeah. Okay,
so,
well...
But, yeah.
No, sorry. I was going to ask you logistically how this is going to work moving forward.
This is where my issue lies.
Yeah, okay. All right, you go ahead and tell me then.
My issue is, like, I really enjoyed it. I thought this was a great adaptation of what was, like, the first season of One Piece. I would love to see more because I really like this interpretation of the characters. I prefer the anime, but I would love to see more of this. But then I'm like, why do we bother? There's no way in hell Netflix is going to do... I've seen a lot of Twitter posts. I did a little digging of people going, right, how are, like, hard fans who've seen everything breaking this down? And everybody was like, oh, yeah, minimum 14 seasons. If they're continuing the 8 episodes.
Can they skip arcs, or is every arc quite essential?
This is where I'm not as much of an expert. I know there's definitely a fair bit they skipped and trimmed down with these arcs. Which I felt was quite good, and I felt a lot of them got to the point. There was a couple of, bits I was kind of like, that would have been good to have in, because I felt that was kind of important in the show. And One Piece is known for having a bit of filler in it, and obviously the Netflix takes that out, which is quite nice. It does change some of the kind of source material, but I really do struggle. I think, I'm confident enough that I think this will get a second season.
Yeah, I mean, look, I looked at the viewer numbers over when it launched the past week. 18.5 million viewers it got. That's a lot. I mean, that's like, and those are like prime, like Game of Thrones numbers. That's huge. Yeah.
And I mean, the responses I've seen is positive to mixed. I haven't seen much negative aspects of it. I've seen a lot of people saying, there's some parts on it that it doesn't do well. It does struggle with the exaggerating fights because obviously anime can do these.
You can do anything in anime.
You can do anime. See what they're doing the stretching fine. I'm like, Marvel, don't be a little bitch and say you couldn't do stretching for Miss Marvel because you were weird it wouldn't translate. It translates fine. But what I have to say, which I can understand why it had possibly the most expensive TV budget, the sets are incredible. They just make boats. And I'm sitting they genuinely give you just boats. And I'm sitting there and I'm like we've obviously watched quite a bit of kind of the Marvel films recently.
Oh, yes.
And me and my girlfriend sitting there going, there's so many, I could only pick out maybe 1 or 2 scenes I was like, maybe a green screen. But 90% of the time, I was so like, you're on a set. That's a boat.
That's good.
And that's
good.
something I really liked, and I appreciated because they could have really just chucked it and went, here.
Oh, yeah.
Put it in front of a green screen. It's on the water. It's a struggle aspect.
Yeah, if this was a Disney Marvel production, this would have been all volume and blue screen and stuff, yeah.
The one thing I do say is they clearly made like a fucking massive-ass pool and made the sets in this pool. The only thing is that it's always calm. Like, you're meant to be a pirate, I'm like, as a sailor, I'm like, nobody's sailing in that, mate. You're drifting. And I'm like, nothing's happening here. They do a really good way of introducing the villains, where their bounty will kind of float in front of their face, and they'll like rip it away like their wanted poster, which is a nice wee kind of nod. I just say, like, I had a really good fun time with this. I think if you've never watched it, if you've never watched the anime and maybe you think anime's not your thing, this is a great way of still kind of sharing that story that Oda made, and it maybe even kind of encourage you to watch the anime because it won't get the complete story.
Yeah,
It'll
it
be
won't. It won't.
it might do 3 or 4 seasons and get cancelled, and you're like, well, I've got the anime.
Well,
I can just jump to that.
if it keeps those viewership numbers up, who knows, man?
I know, but you've just got the
I know
extra
the
age.
characters will age, becomes a thing, yes, and whatnot.
You know, because I
but-
think the actor who plays Luffy was 17 when they filmed this, which is the canonical age of Luffy before there's a time skip. He's 17 for most of it, and I'm like, you're just gonna get older and older. But I mean, casting wise, give the guy a raise, whoever did it, or give it, fantastic job overall.
Well, what would you give One Piece then? What score would you give it? I know it's hard to do the TV
It's
scores,
hard for it, but I think as I try and I'm thinking of comparing it to all the other anime live actions I've seen. I'm gonna give it a solid 7 or 8. I'm kind of keeping it at a 7 right now.
Right.
If you're an anime fan, just watch the anime.
Uh-huh.
If you've watched the anime and you're like, I would love to rewatch it, watch the live action, have a shot of it. But then if you've never seen the anime, if you're not into animation, watch this and go, is this story intriguing me enough to jump into the anime? I thought
that's
great shot.
yeah.
I'm a bit concerned with the new Last Airbender they're doing because the original creators were on board with that, like
And then they
Oda,
left,
but
yeah.
then they left halfway through. So I'm like, I don't know. Having the creator on board full time does seem
helped.
to be
Also,
how they got
Last
the break.
Airbender, realistically, on paper, is 10 times easier to adapt than something like One Piece into live action because it's like 60 episodes, and like some of that is filler, so you can easily, in my eyes, I feel like adapting that is a much easier task than doing
If
something
they
like One
did,
Piece.
if they did 10 1-hour episodes, which would be the equivalent of 30, 20-minute episodes,
20
which would be one season, 2 seasons, which would be the 60 episodes.
Exactly.
Like,
you
they
could
could
easily
do it. And I'm like, what? How, don't fuck up on it. Let the creator have their way.
Yeah.
Like, apparently the creator went, listen, you can do this, you're not allowed to do this, you're not allowed to do that. He specifically went, no crew romances. And he's like, because I feel like Netflix would try and pull that out and be like, and then they went, nah, okay, none of the crew are having romances because that's not what they do in the anime. Let's keep it this way. But yeah,
That's
solid
good.
7 or 8. I'm still kind of sitting on it. I would like to see I would like to see them do another one at least because I want to see this crew because obviously this is really the kind of origin of the kind of Straw Hat crew, and I would love to see these characters interact again because I think the casting and the chemistry between them all is brilliant. But yeah, definitely give it a watch if you can. Highly rated.
Okay, well that's interesting. You have intrigued me actually because it wasn't something really on my radar because I've seen like one episode of One Piece in my entire life, and like you're saying, I'm like, oh, but I just feel like the whole like Disney live action thing where it's like, is it pointless when there's the original animated one right there?
I think there's a struggle with that
know.
because their original animations are 90 minutes.
Yeah.
I think somebody did the math that if you were to only do anything but watch One Piece, it would take you 14 days.
Right, okay.
So,
yeah, exactly. Okay.
It's that kind of thing.
Only 2 weeks, just no eat, sleep, just
Literally,
One Piece.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, okay, well, thank you very much, Kyle. Right, I will review Mubi's latest film, Passages, which was directed by Ira Sachs and stars Franz Rogowski, Ben Whishaw, and Adele Exarchopoulos. I'm sorry if I pronounced that name wrong. So Franz Rogowski plays Thomas, who's this accomplished film director, and we open the film with him literally on his last day of production shooting this party scene on his latest film, and he's been married to his husband Martin, who's played by Ben Whishaw, for years now. It's unclear, but they have a house together, they have a flat together, they have shared lives together. However, when Thomas is at a party with his cast and crew and Martin leaves early because he has work to do and he's just not feeling it, Thomas gets the attention of a young woman, and eventually he sleeps with her, which is the first woman he's ever slept with because he's a fully open gay man. Everyone knows he's gay, and he's married to a man. Agathe is the woman's name. So yeah, when he goes home the next day, he tells his husband what he did, and from there on, the whole relationship begins to go into crisis and confusion. It's like, what does this make us? And
Right.
yeah, I really enjoyed Passages, sorry. And a big reason why I really love Passages is it's really unpredictable. This is a really, really human story where there's primarily only 3 main characters. There's other, obviously, supporting roles coming in and out. But it's really unpredictable. I couldn't really tell where the story was going to go. And if you watch the trailer as well, it doesn't spoil anything if you want to watch the trailer.
Mm-hmm.
It's just an interesting setup. It is really interesting. Like an openly gay man just all of a sudden sleeping with a woman, and it's also not labelled as anything. No one goes to him, "Oh, are you bisexual now? What does this mean?" Because Thomas doesn't even know what it means. Thomas is just sort of, he doesn't really understand his feelings or why he did what he did. It's a really interesting thing, and it goes down many different routes that I found really fascinating. Thomas as a character is really interesting and really, really fun to watch in a twisted way, because he's so self-centered and narcissistic. He doesn't know what he wants ever. He just, like, when everything is kind of crumbling and people are suffering because of the choice he's made, that's when he'll choose, oh, I want to be with you, or I want to be with you. And he constantly flips about, and he's just so selfish and self-centered, but it makes for a really interesting drama. And Ben Whishaw as well. Look, I love Ben Whishaw. I genuinely have not seen him do a bad job in anything. He's like in his 40s. He looks absolutely... Yeah, I can't believe he's in his 40s. He looks so young. Yeah, I've loved him in this. I love him in This Is Gonna Hurt. He's great as Q in Skyfall, the voice of Paddington. He is genuinely a wonderful actor. Like, I just love him in everything he does, and he's such a good actor.
This Is Gonna Hurt the Doctor one? Is that when he's like
yeah. Oh, he's
that's
brilliant in that. He's absolutely brilliant. And once again, here he's like this emotionally scarred man who's exhausted, clearly before this incident ever happens with Thomas. And we just see how conflicted he is. He also doesn't know, it's like, should I stay with this man? Should I leave? And he's just, the way he has this thing, like, there's a scene specifically in a restaurant where he begins to cry, and I'm like, oh my god, his face, he's just so good at emoting. I just love him. And Adele Exarchopoulos as well has a very similarly effective role, where she's the alienated woman, and she brings a lot of understated tragedy to the character, who's kind of lost in this throe of passion. I mean, there's one scene in particular which is, really simple. It's really just kind of a still not wide shot, like medium, it's a kind of wide shot, I guess, of just her in bed in a room, listening into something, and it's really, really tragic, what's going on under there. But yeah, look, it's also really beautifully shot. Jose Desaias is the cinematographer. He utilizes a lot of natural light. The environments are really stylish, and it just looks brilliant. You can tell, wow, they put a lot of work into this, and it looks really real and natural, and just brings so much life to the film and everything around it. It's a really intriguing look into these sort of unjust consequences of loving someone who is so much, more selfish than you, and just sort of becoming a victim to that, and sort of the victim that leaves behind. So I'm going to give Passages a solid 8 out of 10. It's in cinemas now, and I'm pretty sure it'll come to Mubi probably around November, December, Christmas time.
Okay,
so you can
so
catch
it's in cinema now?
It's in cinemas now.
Okay, I might go catch that, actually.
Yeah, there's a lot. I mean, there's a lot of sex scenes in it. It's a rated 18.
Is it?
An
right,
adult film, yeah, there's a lot of that. I mean, I actually had to tell someone to be quiet. Kyle, I had to tell someone to be quiet in this movie. Okay.
Especially when there's sex scenes on. You'd been like,
Genuinely,
excuse me, I am trying to concentrate here.
No, I am trying. But also, okay, look, there was a middle-aged couple in front of me. Middle-aged, and the guy was acting like he's never seen a sex scene before. I was like, what? He was like, whoa. And I'm like, mate, it says 18, before the film starts, 18 certificate contains strong sex. What the hell were you expecting? My God.
Absolutely. He's like,
I know.
This isn't Bleepy Tail. What's going on? Is this the film that's based on a true story? I don't understand.
I know. I was just like, oh, shut up. They were talking as well through the whole thing. First time I've actually had to tell someone to be quiet in a film. I'm
not surprised. You can't interrupt Lewis during a sex scene.
No, you
can't.
Very
passionate about that.
But yeah, that is Passages. So, Kyle, let's jump right into the topic of
The
today.
summer.
The summer movie season. It's over, Kyle. It's over. And I'm going to ask you, what did you make of the summer movie season? The collection of films we kind of got. The big releases, obviously. I mean, we obviously saw a bunch of smaller films too, but mainly the blockbusters, the big films. What are your overall thoughts when you look at a list here?
Well, I'm fairly happy with this list. Looking
Yeah,
over
me too.
It, right?
Me too.
I am fairly happy. I do. I feel that. I feel this is going to be a solid year looking back.
Yeah.
Especially depending how things go. I think this may be a kind of really solid year. I think weirdly, I'm looking at. There's a lot more. I'm very 50-50 with. Was I happy with what I got? With I was overly surprised with some of the stuff I got. There's definitely films for me like quick shout out to Dead Reckoning Part 1, where as we discussed when we did our Mission Impossible films, I wasn't a huge fan, but I was like, no, I'm gonna go in, I'm gonna think like let's just have fun, and I was like incredible. Like
so yeah, it was
film.
It was really only like a few of the Mission Impossible films you liked out of the ones.
And then I was like, and then you have like your Indiana Jones. I was like, okay, let's go back to like our family favorite, and you're like, it's a lot 50-50 for me.
When I look at this list, the films I liked, I really liked. I think this is really like so many, like a few 9 out of 10s here, 8 out of 10s, like really really solid, brilliant blockbusters. I think, of course, there's ones I disliked, there's ones I absolutely hated, but that's part of the course. That's always going to happen. But yeah, so how we're going to break this down is we're going to start with the biggest hits, the biggest money makers this year, the ones that are profitable, and then we'll kind of go through another portion which were they profitable? Did they break even? We'll look at the quality of some of them, and then we'll go into the bombs.
Do you know? Just before there was one fact I read. I know we're technically not going to be talking about Mario because it was an April release.
Yes.
But I did see something that said the top 3 films of this year are all non-sequel films, which is the first time this has happened since 2001. Yeah,
but there's a catch to that though. That's not really true though. Like 2 of them are massive toy IPs. Like Mario and Barbie
they're not
I
sequels.
know, technically speaking, but one is the biggest game mascot of all time, and gaming is huge,
and
the other is the biggest toy of all time, which is Barbie. So, well, let's jump into Barbie, which is the number 1 film of the year. Will absolutely not be topped. It's currently sitting at $1,384,000,000. It's going to keep going. It's going to cross 1.4. Who knows? I did call it, Kyle. I said it's going to make around Super Mario Brothers numbers.
Fool.
And you're a fool.
And I stand here openly admitting that.
I did say it would make around Super Mario Brothers numbers. I thought it would had the potential to pass it, and it's absolutely passed it. Very happy with that. So Barbie's the biggest winner of the year. And what were your overall thoughts on Barbie?
I absolutely love Barbie. I thought it was a really kind of unique film in the way the kind of story was set out.
Yeah.
Very good use of sets. Obviously, Margot Robbie and Ryan Gosling killed it in their respective roles.
Absolutely killed it.
I thought the humour was great and the musical numbers were top class. All around great fun with obviously a very powerful message in there as well. Yeah. And it's one of those ones I would love to watch this again and just again and again.
Me too. I did blast with it. I loved, Kyle, obviously I love being in a packed theatre, and I got this a few times this summer, which is great. And yeah, I had a lot of fun with it. Really funny, really vibrant film, really playful, really silly, but also very sincere when it needs to be. I had a great time with Barbie, and it's one of these things I'm absolutely happy with it being the biggest film of the year, and I actually think it's very important this is the biggest film of the year because, female directed film, the first female directed film to, I think, make $1 billion. I could be wrong about that.
Yes, I remember seeing an article or something
with Greta Gerwig doing that. Also before she's 40 as well, incredibly impressive. And I think this is important. I really hope this does. I mean, look, they're going to make more toy movies now, which isn't really the point of why this was so successful. It was that women finally had a blockbuster to get behind. I don't understand why they aren't going after that market more now, but God knows. But yeah, very happy with it. There's been some years in summer movie seasons where the absolute crap has won the box office, but thankfully we have a really solid movie that's doing it this year.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, so the next one the third highest grossing film of the year, second highest grossing film of the summer, is Oppenheimer. Which, did anyone call this? Did anyone call this? Right now, sitting at $853 million, and it's going to pass $900 million.
Yeah,
I don't know if it has the legs to go to $1 billion, but my God.
Depending how long they decide to keep it in cinemas, due to the fact that we're getting a lot of pushes back, it could go all the way until October to maybe even November, depending if some things get pushed back even further.
I don't know what's getting those IMAX screens right now. I think it's still just Oppenheimer, and maybe
there's a lot of discussion that I am putting money down that if the strikes don't get resolved, that Disney will push the Marvels, because they can't release that. That's going to be you need to market that with the cast, and then June's not getting those IMAX screenings. No, Marvels are going to get those IMAX screenings.
We know Apple is getting out those IMAX screens for Killers of the Flower Moon for at least a week or two, and Napoleon is getting a big IMAX push as well.
That's a big IMAX one as well. I mean, there could still be a couple of viewings a day that they'll shove Oppenheimer into.
Who knows? Who knows how long I'm going for? But you weren't actually. You didn't. I was the only one who reviewed Oppenheimer actually, which is shocking. But you never really gave your thoughts on Oppenheimer, I don't think, on the show.
No, didn't I? Oh no, I saw it the day after. Yeah, I saw it the day after. Just incredible. Just honestly, goddamn gorgeous in every sense of the word. The scoring, the sound, every single performance. The some of the shots were just insanely beautiful. Oh my God, Cillian Murphy. I was like, Clive. It's not Clive. Cillian. I know. I was like, Clive. Cillian Murphy. Unstoppable in that role. I can't see anybody getting his Oscar award, because I'm giving it to him.
Obviously, a bunch of the Oscar films are yet to come out. He will absolutely have stiff competition this year when the time comes, no doubt. But
I definitely
currently
think
he's the front runner.
RDJ will get a nomination. I feel he'll get a nomination. I don't know. I feel Ryan Gosling could scoop it, to be fair.
I think he might. Depends. Look, we haven't seen all. We haven't seen all the Oscar films coming out. The big awards are films coming out. So
but no, a fantastic film. I absolutely loved it.
Yeah,
honestly, didn't feel like 3 hours.
Yeah, I love it. This is what I love. I love, an original film, adult, R-rated, really cinematic, making so much money and being so good. This is what I want, Kyle. This is the stuff I want. This is
cinema.
This is cinema. Look, I've seen it twice. I saw it in the IMAX. I saw it on 70mm. It's just an experience. Filled audiences, everyone just getting absorbed in the drama. It hooks you in. It's got such a great pace to it, although sometimes a bit too quick. Little negative on that. But apart from that, it's just like you're saying, Kel. Incredibly well shot. Yeah. Looks fantastic. So engaging. Everyone I know loves it, has fallen in love with it, thinks it's great. It's just a really engrossing drama, and will absolutely be a huge frontrunner at this year's Oscars. And I really hope it crosses that $1 billion mark. And I just... I want more of this stuff, man. I want more of these films to make money. It only helps cinema. It's just fantastic. And also, I'm going to give him a shout out, because every time I'm on this and I get a chance to talk about Oppenheimer, Jason Clarke, underrated performance of the entire film.
Jason Clarke is amazing in this film.
So good. How is no one talking about him? He's part of that meme. He's part of the meme with the close-up of Oppenheimer and the big flashing light, and he's got his finger on the table. He's brilliant. I love Jason Clarke in this film.
You're just like, what's happening here, Jason?
But yeah, so we'll go to the fourth biggest film of the year, third biggest of the summer, and that is Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy 3. Feels like ages ago since this came out, Kyle.
When did it come out, actually? I was just looking at another film. I was just checking what release date. It was just a minor shout, because I know it didn't do successfully. But talking about films that you wanted to do great.
Oh, right, yeah, sorry.
Last week I rewatched Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret.
Oh, of course.
And obviously I was just checking, that was a May 19th release for us. April 28th for them. I would have wanted that film to make as much
me too,
money as
man.
it could have.
So many smaller films. Yeah.
Oh, God, yeah, that's just one. But sorry, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. probably one of the best Marvel films I've seen since Endgame.
Yeah, yeah, for a long time for sure.
Probably the best Marvel film I've seen. Endgame, actually. Now, kind of considering it, really, really, really happy that James Gunn wasn't so bitter with Marvel that he came back and
he saw through it.
Put the effort in. Because I remember you said you were quite worried. Because I know the first fight scene's a bit iffy.
Yeah, the first.
And
10
I remember
minutes,
you were a bit like,
minutes, I was like, what's going on
yeah,
here?
you said you were a bit iffy about it, and like, is this gonna be?
But it got better. It got better.
It got better, and you know the fact that it was kind of Rocket's story was
I like
just
that.
beautiful. I thought it had a really. I thought it had. I say good villain. It had a really cliche mad scientist villain, but done really well, and I just loved it.
Yeah,
and I thought, you know, a lovely kind of conclusion to this really nice, fun group of characters.
Yeah.
And I'm really hoping Marvel don't ruin it.
Well, that's kind of the thing for me. I liked it overall. I loved the second act of this film. I really was like, this is fantastic. The whole, as soon as they arrive on the fake planet Earth, with all the like weird
F2 or something,
Earth 2 or whatever. And you know, James Gunn, I said this, got away with so much in this film because they owed him one. This is really pushing that PG-13, 12 rating here. You know, with the viciousness and the swearing and the reference to like meth dealing. I was like, oh my god, this is really James Gunn. Really more violent as well. Really gruesome stuff going on. I really thought, wow, I don't like to respect big evil corporations, but I was like, I'm glad you gave James Gunn that bit of freedom.
I think because I think they know Guardians is a surefire.
Yeah, and I don't think they're going to give any other director that sort of freedom because James Gunn is James Gunn.
Yeah,
but yeah, I do have problems with some of the story choices, mainly the Gamora stuff. I just wasn't really into, but that was kind of forced because of Endgame things and whatnot. And also there is that I wanted this to be a bit more of a definitive ending, but it's Marvel, so I guess kind of light spoilers, you know. There's not really a real conclusion to a lot of it. It's like, they have sort of kind of going off. Some of them are going off and doing their own things, but it's not really. We could finish it
here. Yeah, but if we do Secret Wars like everybody wants it to, they can call it back for a finale. Of course, and I'm like, don't. Why can't we just have characters end it? I have the same. I had the same issue with John Wick. Can we not just let characters end? Can we not just let stories end?
And it just. And don't even think about doing another Guardians film without James Gunn, because obviously he's not coming back anymore. But yeah, I had a good time. A good solid Marvel film, good superhero flick. And now we're talking about the best superhero flick of the year, and that's Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. Made a total of $689 million worldwide, which is like over or just about double what the first one did. Insane turn of profit, especially $100 million budget. Solid box office there. Kyle, did you love Spider-Verse? Of course.
You know, once again, rewatched this 2 weeks ago.
Great.
Showed it to my girlfriend. I was like, right, experience.
Where did you rent it? Was it on digital now?
It's out. I bought it on digital as soon as I could. I was like, I will get the 4K, but I was like, I can't wait. I need you to see it now. Yeah. And man, the music in this. The music's fantastic. See, even that first 10 minutes in Gwen's world. And the colour, the kind of water painting of it, it is so goddamn beautiful. I have a friend who's studying animation at uni, and she's like, I've yet to see it. And I'm like,
oh my god, what are you doing?
How is this not homework for you? Exactly. Seriously. Pardon me. And I was like, just everything from the spot, which I think is possibly one of the few things Avi Arad has done good to the Spider-Man franchise in the last
the spot in it. He wanted the spot.
And honestly, I'm like, I can't see this film without the spot.
Yeah, the spot's great. I actually kind of wanted a bit more of him, to be fairly honest.
Rewatching it, right, and just seeing the kind of demonic look of him, where it's just black scribbles with like white circles instead. I'm like, it's actually kind of terrifying. And I'm like, I'm so fucking wanting more of this. And I thought Oscar Isaac as Miguel Harry. Oh my god, just fantastic. Everybody bringing it in is, you know, you got Spider-Man India, you got Spider-Punk. Those are two fantastic additions to the lineup. And the only thing I'm upset with, and which is at the time when I went to you guys, where I think I gave it an 8, and I went, I would go higher. but it is a first-parter.
Yeah. You don't know how it's gonna go.
And my issue now is that originally it was meant to come out March 2024.
That's not gonna happen.
And it was never going to happen originally because they went, well, we actually haven't started making it. And they were like, I was like, well, how are you going to make it? This is like a 5-year project. And then with strikes and everything, and now animation looking like they could unionize. You're gonna. It's gonna be a longer gap between the first and second one than it would be the second and third one.
Kyle, a Dune 2 is gonna take that March slot now, so they're not gonna.
It was never gonna happen in June.
It was never gonna happen. But if it was gonna happen, they definitely wouldn't do it now because of Warner Brothers being dickheads.
Yeah.
But anyway, I once again, listen to our whole review of it. Spider-Verse. It's sort of like I never really said this at the time, but it's kind of everything on paper. It's everything I would hate. Big convoluted plot dealing with a lot. You're dealing with the Spot. You're dealing with Miguel. You're dealing with multiple Spider-Men. You got so much going on. You got the family stuff at home. You got Gwen's story. That seems like on paper a complete.
What did they call it?
Mess. Spider Society.
No, like dealing with the it's a canon event, like canon those event, kind of aspects.
Yeah, dealing with so much on paper that it should be a complete mess. Also, multiverse stuff and all little Easter eggs. Oh, I hate that sort of shit. But my God, it is so cohesive. It comes together. Everyone's fantastic. All the stories are completely engaging and dramatic. It's beautiful to look at. Absolutely, I saw it twice in cinemas. It was absolutely fantastic. I prefer it even more than the first one, honestly. I cannot wait for part 2. So, I guess we'll go to the other one that I think, because this is kind of the last one that I think was definitely profitable, and that is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem. Had a $70 million budget, has now made $152 million. Still got legs, still keeps going. We don't know what the final number of that will be, because it's just 3 or 4 weeks old now. So, yeah, quickly, Kyle, what did you think of TMNT?
I mean, we've only talked about this recently. I thought it was a fun wee time. I thought it was the best Teenage Turtle movie I've ever seen. That's not a high bar, to be honest. It's fairly low. But I thought this was a good fun film. I thought it went a wee bit too much on the kind of referencing a bit. Which I think it's kind of, it went a bit too Deadpool on me for my liking. But I was like, they're kids more than teenagers. I'm happy with that. Leg to grow, and I was like, yeah, fun time with animation. Go as crazy as they went crazy. They went really crazy at the end. I was like, good fun time. I'm happy it's making money.
Yeah, you know what? I thought it was fine. I gave it a 6 out of 10 of the show. I thought it was a fine, fun watch. Great for kids. Especially, like little 8-year-old, 9-year-old boys and whatnot, TMNT fans. But I thought it was fine. The story's simple. The animation is really nice to look at. Like you're saying, it's good to see them actually like kids and not adults. It was for me. It was fine. It was a good watch. I'm glad it's making money. I like to see art styles.
Seth Rogen's really putting in the time and effort with projects that he is producing. I'm happy that he is getting the kind of love that he deserves for these superhero flicks.
Well, okay, now we'll go to the films that we are actually unsure if they made money. This is the sort of questionable list. So we're going to start with Fast X, right? Which has made $704 million, right? Which you'd think, hey, that's more than Spider-Verse. That's a lot of money. And you're right, that is a lot of money. But this was one of the most expensive films ever made, coming at $340 million. I don't know where the money is on that screen because it looks like a video game, but yeah, I guess it doubled that.
This isn't a case of when they announced the Avengers budget and then they went, well, actually, this is split over between the two films.
No,
this isn't the case. This is 3-4. It's not. I mean,
actually, I really hope it's over the two because you don't think it's made money, double the budget.
Plus a bit of marketing. You're looking at 800. I would say 800 to really clear
so you're at the
a profit.
Point.
And you're 704. Even if you do the basic math, 690, just doubling the budget. Marketing on top of that is going to be another 100 at least.
Yeah, for a film like this, you're probably right.
And
Our accountant has explained that Fast
X
actually
belongs
to the bomb list. It belongs to the bomb list.
Look at the fuel prices as well.
Oh,
they're going up. That's going to be 340 just on fuel.
And also, it deserved to bomb. In all honesty, it's
that too.
Terrible. It was so bad, Kyle. It was so boring.
I still haven't seen this.
Well, don't honestly. It was so boring, and look, I'm gonna have to watch Fast 11 for the show to review that, and because this ends on the biggest cliffhanger ever. How is Dom gonna get out of this one? It ends like a literal Saturday morning cartoon, but whatever.
I really hope they don't do a part 3, because if this is going to be the final one, I will see it with you. I will, because I want to see how stupid it gets to the finale. But
that's the thing, Kyle. It's not. It doesn't matter. It's just because they're in on the joke now. It's not funny. It's really not funny. Vin Diesel's the funniest part because he still believes this is a serious drama, but all the other actors think this is a piss take. But to make it a piss take, you have to be, in on it. You can't be in on it. Sorry, you have to take this really seriously. But no one else is taking this seriously anymore. Everyone is just doing it for a paycheck, except Vin Diesel, who really loves this, and it's really funny to watch. But apart from that, it's terrible. Anyway, so we're gonna go next to Elemental. Kyle, you saw this one. Currently, Elemental opened like abysmally, like $20-30 million.
It was like the worst opening for
a Pixar film, right?
Like,
and it's now
ever
made $480 million.
So for reference, that is more than the first Toy Story and the first Cars, which, in fairness, are the first IP, chapters in their respected franchises.
And it made more money than Ant-Man 3.
Honestly, I'm looking at Elemental and seeing it where it stacks against like other films, and I am so happy. Like I said in my review, I thought this was a pleasant little film. I thought I really enjoyed the world. Yes, it did share some very clear similarities to Zootopia or Zootropolis, wherever you saw it. But I thought this was really fun overall. I thought it had a really kind of endearing, lovely story. It handled the idea of immigration and discrimination very well. I really enjoyed the characters. I was just pleasantly surprised by this film. This was my secret screening that I saw.
Yes.
And I would have probably gone to see it out with the secret screening if it wasn't that.
Yeah.
But yeah, really happy to see how this goes.
Good.
Don't know if it's. I don't actually. Do you know what the budget?
I don't know. Let's see, because I think it was in the high hundreds.
Because also, I don't think they spent that much on marketing. Because I don't think they did.
$200 million.
Ooh, nah.
Are you sure? Because I don't know. Like you're saying, Kyle, the marketing campaign. And I've seen reports say it has broken even. That's my thing.
No, that's the thing. So it could break even. I would say it would have broken even. I don't think they would have spent $80 million on marketing.
No.
I do not think that is the case. Because I really didn't see much marketing.
Me neither, honestly.
I didn't see any of the cast doing some stuff press days. Yeah, I would have said this would have been a break even.
Okay, a break even. Well, that's good. Because I want Pixar, because I have a theory what Disney's doing to Pixar, and I want them to actually, get out of that, and if they make a lot of money, then they'll keep their films in cinemas, and not do Toy Story 5, which they are doing anyway. So that's why I kind of want these original Pixar films to do well.
So I'm just looking at it. It's going to be released on Disney Plus on September 13th, 89 days after
They kept that out of cinemas, out of Disney Plus for a long time.
That's longer than it used to be. About 40 days.
45, yeah.
45. So they're doubling their theatrical times, which I'm really glad with, because I think that's what they should be doing.
Absolutely. Well, let's talk about another Disney property here. So, The Little Mermaid, which once again...
This is a shock.
This is a shock, right? Because I thought beginning of this year, Little Mermaid, huge 90s Disney, late 80s, Disney animated film, high, up to $1 billion, absolutely $1 billion, $569 million worldwide, off of a budget, Kyle. I put this on the maybe list, but I don't think I need to anymore, because $569 million made $250 million budget.
Nah, that kind of film is gonna have a big marketing. I do remember them kind of pushing it. You got big names in there like Javier Bardem and Melissa McCarthy as well.
Yep.
I think that is gonna be, if not, I would say that was maybe just a flop.
Yeah, and also it's actually of note to say that it did really well domestically, but not so much worldwide, which is an interesting mark. Like, it made almost $300 million in the States alone, which is big. Yeah. That's a lot of money, but not enough worldwide. I think that's kind of where the market fell for it. It needed to do better overseas. Like that's good money for the domestic, but yeah, that is quite a surprise.
I mean,
quite a surprise.
it's just released on Disney
Mm.
Plus today,
Oh,
actually.
really? Today?
Well,
There we go.
as of recording, the 6th of
Mhm.
September.
Yeah.
I'm kind of surprised by
Mhm.
that one because I, like you, Lewis, when we
Mhm.
did our predictions, I thought this would be a guaranteed billion.
Yeah.
But
Well, okay, let's go to easily the worst film of the summer. Meg 2 The Trench, $185 million budget, but it's made $376 million and still is going.
well, they would have saved on the marketing because strikes happened, so they couldn't like
They
shove
don't
actors
promote
and
it. I don't
they
remember
didn't
really
have to
seeing
do
any adverts for
press
it.
days
Uh-huh.
for it. I think this would have been a break even.
I mean, it's also still in cinemas. It's still going. That's the thing.
I
Like,
think
there's
this
no
would
final
be a
number on this one.
comfortable break even actually
Mhm.
from
From Mm-hmm.
its budgets and the way it's going. In fact, it's still going, and because it was released during the strikes where they couldn't do the
Mhm.
marketing, I think they would have saved a fair bit of. No, I don't know the ins and outs of how they kind of budget the marketing.
yeah.
I still feel that not having major premieres or anything would
Mhm.
save some money.
Well, Kyle, I know you don't really want to talk about it, but what did you quickly think of Meg 2?
Yeah. I thought I'm gonna quote somebody.
Okay.
It's how can you? I can't remember exactly word for word. It was how could you not make Jason Statham fighting three megalodons good? And that comes from Lewis Gibson.
Like, it genuinely is astonishing how you can make that premise so utterly boring.
Do you know what?
Like,
That
it's
gave me a
so
good.
It was
That's literally. It was literally the last line of your August roundup, right?
yeah.
Quick shout out to that.
Yeah.
And it gave me a good laugh. It set me on a good laugh. I also love the fact it went like, a 9, a 10, a 9, an 8, a 7, a 1.
Yeah.
It just dramatically drops.
Yeah,
No,
from all my August
absolutely
reviews, yeah.
shit. Don't see this.
Don't see me. Don't give it money. Let it die. Right, so then we're going to move to the bombs list. So there was a fair few this summer, and I had this one on the maybe list, but looking at the budget, it did bomb, and that is Transformers: Rise of the Beasts. Made $438 million on a budget of $200 million. That's pretty bad.
And that was a big market push for it. It was
That's big.
real shame because I want to see what. Well, I hope are they making a sequel? Have they
I
announced
don't
that?
no word on it. I don't think.
I just want to see G.I. Joe.
Oh
please.
no.
If you don't know that there was a post credit scene. I haven't seen the film. I just know there's a post credit scene, and the guy's like, "We want you to join a team," and it's
Yeah.
G.I. Joe.
Well, look, here's the thing, right? Screen Rant did say it needed 400 million at the very least to break even, but I don't think it would have made. I don't think it would have turned them broken even on that money. 38 million? No, I mean, I just think there's other costs there that it's gonna.
I think there's other costs that you have to kind of take in.
And neither of us saw this one, so we actually can't really.
No, we didn't help the budget. We
No,
didn't
no,
really
no,
help
no.
the box office.
But let's get to
Um,
some serious bombs here now, and let's turn to The Flash, Kyle. Flash, a budget of around $250 million, made $268 million worldwide when it was all said and done. Thank God.
This has to be one of the biggest bombs in superhero history. Like genuinely, I don't understand. Now, there's a lot of I must imagine
Yeah.
contract obligations behind this. Or James Gunn just having the ship and going like, I can't say it's shit. I'm going to say it's one of the best superhero movies ever. Tom Cruise was clearly just paid money to say this is good.
Yeah.
Say this is the film that we need. He saw another film and he was like,
I think he did.
we were gonna put it in a different quote.
Uh-huh.
I can't fathom why they thought that was releasable.
No, it's
They would have
an
really
unfinished film.
I think they're the only film that wished the strikes came sooner.
Yes.
So they had to avoid the controversy of why Ezra Miller couldn't promote their own film.
It was,
Fucking
and it's
dog
just
shit.
Kyle, it's an ugly looking film. It's just crap. It's just so uninteresting. This is how you like. Came out 2 weeks after Spider-Verse, and this is how you do the multiverse in the most boring, fan servicey, dull way. The action looks crap. It's an unfinished film, I'm so glad this type of superhero movie is bombing because no one wants to see this stuff. No one wants to see things like this. I hated The Flash. Hated it so much.
The only joy The Flash gives me is watching people trying to defend it on Twitter. That gives me a bit of joy because I'm like, it's not what you think it is. It's not. Don't even try and pretend that you think this is a good film. Actually, The Flash is kind of underrated. I'm like, no, it's not. Shut the fuck
it's
up.
not. It's terrible.
It's like, oh, I think the CGI in the Speed Force is actually meant to be that for a reason. I was like, well, what about the babies, mate? What about those 6 CGI babies?
Oh, it's an absolute disaster. Right, let's turn to the other biggest bomb in box office history, maybe. And that is Indiana Jones 5 and the Dial of Destiny. Kyle, this film, my God, it made $382 million worldwide on a $300 million budget.
What did Crystal Skull make?
Like high 780 something million.
Oh.
This film needed 800 million to break even. Why on God's green earth did an Indiana Jones film cost this much money? Like,
do you know what's so funny?
What is going on?
This is also a huge. I mean, there's a big thing about. I mean, currently there's actually people looking into Disney about their whole budgeting scenario, and the fact that no film should have a budget of that. No film. We have seen visually stunning films for a fraction.
Yes.
Look at the Batman. Look at the Creator. Look, I mean, I know it's not out yet, but we've only seen snippets.
Visually very impressive. District 9 is the biggest example, over 30 million to me. That film. Barbie cost half of this. Oppenheimer cost a third of this. Right? What is going on?
Where there's genuinely there's an accountant in me, Lewis, that kind of wants to see a spreadsheet and go, right, can you show me? Like, unless you guys had really expensive lunches on set, because I don't understand. You clearly didn't pay it on the writers.
No,
because the script was apparently dog shit. Another example of me getting really upset with a undefinitive ending to a character.
I mean, Kyle, you were not a fan of this film at all, were you? Not really.
No, I really didn't like it. I love the aspects of Indiana Jones where it's like very kind of not simple kind of gizmos, right? Yeah. But like lower key where it's like, yeah, you can live long in this cave. Yeah. Defining the laws of time and space when they went back in time and you saw those, I've never felt my jaw drop to the ground so much in the cinema.
Yeah.
This was Godsmack. I mean, the only way they could have made it worse is that he stayed and died in prehistoric times. And it was his hat. It was not prehistoric, like ancient Rome or whenever it was. Like, oh yeah, he could have survived. He may have made it. He may have jumped back in his
just him in a Torah in the post-credits scene or something.
I think like there was like a couple. For me, I know you may have liked it a bit more. I thought him dealing with the grief of his son and the separation of his wife was fantastic. Yeah. I quite liked Phoebe, Bridget Jones's character. Waller Bridges, and that was about it for me in that film.
I think, you give a 4 out of 10, I remember, and I give it a 5. I liked it just slightly more than you. I did really fall for that Harrison Ford performance because I'm like, he really is going for it, and he does actually. He's given a lot of emotion to this, and I think he is heads and shoulders above the script he's given, really. I think he loves his character so much that he's just giving it his all for a really undeserving script, actually. Mads Mikkelsen's always fantastic to see. He's a great villain, and like you're saying, Phoebe Waller-Bridge is good fun, but overall, the action is really whatever. The adventure is, the time travel stuff is... Look, I was always a defender when the rumours were out. I was like, time travel can be done in interesting and not silly ways, and you could do them in subtler ways, which I thought they would hopefully do, but they go balls to the wall. Like, I don't know what the hell that was, man.
See your point about his character. I agree with you how he's given it all. I would have probably looked at it even better if his character had a definitive ending. See that kind of picking up the hat? That's
Yeah.
a wee Disney fuck you. You know, like, yeah, you think we're going to just give this character an ending? No. No, we're not.
Well, we'll talk about it very quickly. I mean, neither of us have seen this film. I think it came out in the UK without really telling us it was out. It just kind of dropped, and there was no marketing for it here. And that is Disney's Haunted Mansion. Currently made $100 million worldwide off of a $150 million budget. Why are you giving a Haunted Mansion film $150 million? What the hell? That's
Why
a
are you
catastrophe.
giving Haunted Mansion an August release?
Oh, excellent point, Kyle.
Like, see, if this film came out in October, I would have gone, a fun little Halloween night. Why not? Let's go see Haunted Mansion. August.
And also, look, I'm never, when people complain about film runtimes, I'm like, shut up and just sit and watch the goddamn film, right? People complaining about Oppenheimer and blah, 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 it's over, it's 3 hours, whatever, I don't give a shit, it's fine. You know, a lot of films this summer were actually over 2 hours. But my God, why is a kid's Haunted Mansion film over 2 hours long? Guys, trim that shit down. It's a kid's film, for Christ's sake.
It came out in July in America.
Oh,
why would you release a horror?
What is this film? What is going on?
I would love to see the people sitting in like that pitch meeting going, yeah. So this is gonna be a kids' Halloween film. Are we thinking 90 minutes less? No, let's push the 2 hour mark.
Yeah.
Right, okay. And should we release it on Halloween or should we release it before so they could get like before. Let's do about July. Okay, and the budget, dumb. 90 million, 100 million, what do you need? About 200. Alright, okay, I'm gonna have to call bullshit here. This guy,
maybe they were thinking of like, guys, Die Hard was a big hit. That came out in July in the 80s. And that's set during Christmas. What if we do it for Haunted Mansion? I don't know.
The only thing I found entertaining from Haunted Mansion was the fact that it kept its premiere a couple of days post-strike, and to cover up the fact that the actors and writers are being unfairly paid, I wouldn't show up, they brought in Disney characters in full costume. And I thought that was the funniest thing I've ever seen a giant corporation do to cover up their mistakes.
Yeah.
Amazing.
That is good, actually. Right, so the next one, the last superhero film that really came out this summer, and that is Blue Beetle. Currently still in cinemas, obviously, but on a budget of $100 million has only made $104 million after 2 weeks of release. That's not good, man. That's really not good.
I think this is going to be a slight dig, but Lewis will understand. It's after 3 days. I think we can call it a flop.
Yes.
It's
been 2 weeks.
It's been 2 weeks.
It's a
no
flop.
offense to a certain somebody who doesn't know we exist and won't listen to this.
No.
It's been after 3 days, mate. It's a flop. And we knew this was going to happen.
Yeah.
See, even with full marketing and everything,
Yeah.
it's not that kind of superhero film.
No,
this was originally meant to be a HBO Max, whatever you want to call that stupid streaming service, exclusive. And this makes it, this is like you going, right, we're going to do a Miss Marvel film. And then being surprised it bombs. Like, there's a reason why that character was originally introduced in a streaming
Disney
service
Plus
production.
thing, yeah, for sure.
And which I think's what needed to be this character for it to,
Yeah, and look, I also think what hurt it is that the marketing for this film was actually awful. Like, the trailers
didn't like the trailer.
I was certain this film was going to be crap, and it was an absolute pleasant surprise. I did have a good time. But from the trailers, I thought that looked truly awful, and it looked like a Channel 5 movie or something. It isn't that. It is actually quite interesting. But I just, like, Warner Brothers, what were you doing? This film did deserve more than that. Absolutely. Deserved to actually turn a profit for sure. And it just got let I mean, look, I know there's those discussions where it's like, well, they're rebooting DC. This is kind of the last thing of the whole, like, pre-James Gunn stuff. So it's not, I mean, they're saying he's going to maybe be tied in, but is he? I don't think so. It could caught in that mess as well, but whatever.
I think that I think they'll keep the actor because he does a fantastic job as Blue Beetle.
Yeah.
Like, even if they don't keep this story as part of the new DC, I think they'll keep the character.
Okay. Well, I hope so too, because I think Zola Maranduena is a fantastic screen presence and really charismatic. I really, really enjoyed him. Actually, he was the soul of that film. But now, Kyle, I've kind of left this one to last because second last. I've got a surprise for you for last, actually.
Oh, a surprise!
A surprise, yeah, because I discovered this on this very show. So this one really hurts me, Kyle, because you know me. This is Mission Impossible because I love Mission Impossible.
I'm always thinking, I was like, has he missed that?
No. Mission Impossible 7: Dead Reckoning, which original budget was $220 million, ballooned to $290 million due to COVID, when the first film to shoot during the pandemic. So many safety measures put in place for like a globe-trotting adventure with real stunts and whatnot. Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1 only made $560 million worldwide. That is, I think it needed $700 million to break even. And on paper, you thought, yeah, Fallout was a massive hit, $791 million. It's coming off a film everyone really loved. It's going to do well. It was riding the Tom Cruise wave of Top Gun being
Maverick,
one of the biggest films ever. But it just didn't happen. And look, we are going to talk about these factors, Kyle. It was the week before Barbie and Oppenheimer, and that was the biggest internet craze of the year.
And they also thought we can't release it too close to Indiana because it will have legs.
The complete other way round. Complete disaster. But also, there's more to this story, Kyle, because I don't know if you saw the whole thing about the IMAX CEO when this actually originally came out when he was talking about giving Dune 6 weeks in IMAX when it had that November release date. And he was talking about how he had discussions with Tom Cruise, warning him, look, Oppenheimer is going to be much bigger than you think and than we all think. Like, our pre-sales are through the roof. Like, please, we beg you, for both our sakes, to delay your film. Because we can make a lot of money if you delay this to August. You'll have less competition. There's no big, huge tentpole films in August. And you'll have those IMAX screens for the whole month, right? Don't do this. And Tom Cruise believed his film would be the film of the summer. Because, the original projections for Oppenheimer were $30 to $40 million opening weekend. And that destroyed them. And same with Barbie, doubled her projections as well. But I think the writing was on the wall, though. I mean, they released it on a Monday as well because they wanted to maximise those IMAX screens. Why not just wait till August if that was your plan? It was just an awful move from Paramount. And I know another thing, sorry, we'll quickly talk about it. I have to sort of rant here. I know there's that thing where it's like, look, if people wanted to see it, they would have gone and seen it anyway. It's been in cinema for a long time. But that's not how the public consciousness works. Because Barbie and Oppenheimer were all plastered everywhere. That's all anyone saw posters of or adverts for. You can throw in a Mission Impossible poster there, but it's going to get absolutely lost in that noise.
Yeah.
And that's just not how it works. And it got completely destroyed because of those two films. And I love Mission Impossible 7. I love it.
I loved it. It was great. Yeah. It was insane.
Uh-huh.
I wonder, though, right, on your kind of August release date theory, would it have worked as well without the marketing? Without the Tom Cruise push
stuff.
Right? So, in a perfect world, the release date of the August would be amazing. I don't think Tom Cruise would have let this film release if he couldn't market it. Because he's such a driving force with this movie.
That's also a problem.
And obviously, at the time, the strikes weren't as... Well, I don't know if Tom Cruise knew because it's been kind of announced that he's been kind of actually quite heavily involved in the negotiations.
Yeah.
So I don't know if he knew it was coming. He was like, "No, it has to release now."
Yeah, maybe.
I won't be able to market it in a week.
But honestly, I know obviously things you have to plan out. But if it released a week after Indiana Jones 5, so it had 2 weeks to itself, Indiana Jones was left out to die anyway. No one was really seeing it, so they probably should just capitalize and destroy that film and earned a little bit more money. But hey ho, I've seen it 3 times. I saw it on National Cinema Day. That was what made me smile, actually, is that when I went to see it for a 3rd time in late August, the entire room was packed. Every seat was taken because of those £3 tickets, which was great. I just think it's a brilliant summer blockbuster, a fantastic adventure. And Mission Impossible 8 is already in production. Obviously, I actually don't know what's happening with that film because of the strikes. It is meant for...
they were filming it a fair bit before.
I know,
because remember he did that plane stunt.
But the thing is, Tom Cruise is now not there to do any of the acting or stunts. Like, I don't know if this film's going to make next July release date. Mission Impossible 8. Who knows, man? But look, I'm gonna end on this surprise, Kyle, right? Because I had this on the bomb list, but I don't think it's as big as a bomb as we might think. Because Gran Turismo, based on a true story, Kyle, its budget was $60 million. It's made 80 so far. Now, Kyle, do you think it can, get enough steam to get to 120 plus? I don't know.
Well, since it is based on a true story, this could be a really driving force for the elderly who'd love to go see a true story. No, I don't think this film will make any.
No, I was only joking. I think it's gonna stay.
It's gonna stay at the 60. But this is one that I don't think Sony give a shit about. It's based on a video game. The video game franchise is the video game industry is the biggest industry in the world. Like Sony probably rake over billions in a week.
Yeah.
Off of it. So a 300 million loss will be covered up in a week from the video game because it's a video. This is just marketing the PS5.
Yeah, true.
That's all it's doing.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, that's what Gonzalo said. This entire we never saw it, thankfully, Kyle. But Gonzalo was expressed his anger with it the other week.
So glad I didn't see this film,
and we got to see Blue Beetle instead, which was
and I intend to keep it that way.
So yeah, look, that was kind of it. That is the summer movie season kind of wrapped up. Kyle, what was your favourite film of the summer then?
Oh, Lewis, it's gonna have to be Oppenheimer for me. It's gonna have to be a Christopher Nolan lover here.
Yeah.
Barbie obviously a close second. To be honest, they go hand in hand these days. But for me, Cillian Murphy's performance just killed it. I thought I loved the story of Oppenheimer. I thought the sound design and just everything was incredible. It's gonna have to be Oppenheimer for me. What about you?
I'm going to have to follow you on that one, Kyle. I agree. I think Oppenheimer is my favourite film of the summer. Obviously, we've got smaller films. Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret. We didn't really talk about them. Those weren't big blockbuster films. But out of the blockbuster films, Oppenheimer absolutely, and a close second goes to Mission Impossible 7: Dead Reckoning.
Yeah, that's also a good show.
That was. I had such a good time. I'm so sad. Anyway, Kyle.
I can't wait. I'm going to rewatch that at Christmas. I'm going to get my family to watch that and be enjoy this. Sit back.
I saw it 3 times. I just love it. Anyway, that will wrap up today's show. So thank you very much, Kyle, for joining me.
Pleasure as always.
Very good. On next week's show, and I'm not going to mess up the schedule this week. On next week's show, we will be talking about the best movie trilogies. A topic we actually haven't done yet, which I'm actually quite surprised by. But yes.
That's very strange.
Yeah, it's very strange. We're going to be talking about our favourite movie trilogies. What makes a good trilogy? Because I know you've got something to say about some Batman stuff there, Kyle.
I don't know. I've never said anything bad about the Dark Knight trilogy, Lewis.
What makes a good trilogy and what our personal favourites are. And I'm sure we'll have reviews for something. Maybe, who knows. So, and I hope Gonzalo's here for that. But at the end of the day, we just gave our opinions on Netflix's One Piece live action adaptation, Passages, and all those summer movie releases. But at the end of the day, those were our unwanted opinions. Thank you very much.